So let us take a look at how Laravel 5.6 is structured. If you come to a Laravel 5.6 folder structure, let me see if I can zoom in so that we can see this. So you have to manage the interface. So the first place where your HTML files are stored in Laravel is in resources folder. So if I click on resources folder and I click on views folder, I will see the folders that contain the HTML files. For instance, this is an HTML file. In Laravel 5.6, Laravel uses Blade templating engine, which they have been using for previous versions. Now, instead of putting .html at the end of a file, they put .blade.php because Laravel HTML files also contain PHP code, so it has to end with .php. So if you click here, you're going to see something that looks like HTML mixed with something that looks like PHP. You see? So this is HTML, all right, and then you see things that somehow look like PHP. These are the Blade templating engine codes. All right, all these at section and this and that. Okay, cool. Now, Laravel has a very smart way of allowing you create folders to manage your different sections of your application. For instance, my about page code might be inside a folder called about. My contact us page codes might be, or files might be inside a folder called contact us. So if I was creating a banking application, maybe customers, there will be customers folder that will contain 10, 20, 30 files that have to do with customer, creation of customers, editing of customer profile, and so on. Then we can have like a payments folder that has to do with processing of payment, all the files that have to do with that. Okay, so here we have something unique that came with this templating engine or boilerplate generator, which is the InfyOM. InfyOM has already created a user registration, login, and forgot password recovery system for us. This is the folder where you're going to see the HTML files that make that up. Remember that there are also PHP files. Then there are database files. We're going to go to those folders going forward, but let's see where the HTML files are stored. So if you come to auth, you will see that there is, for instance, login.blade.php. So if you look at this login.blade.php, you start seeing things that look familiar. For instance, you can see HTML, and then you can see head section, and then you can see body, and so on. So this is incredibly awesome. Look at this, head section, body, and so on. This is cool. All right. Now, if you look at this login.blade.php and you scroll down, you will see that there is a form. You see form group div. See form. See this form. This form started and ended here. So this is the login form that has password field and then email field. So if we go to our app, we'll see that there's email field and password field. Even here, there's InfyOM generator. So just to prove to you that we're on the right page, look at InfyOM generator. We can call it Laravel. Lara jobs. Okay. Laravel jobs. So this is beautiful. If we come here and we refresh, we're going to see, boom, Laravel jobs. Okay, so remember that we're on the login page. We still have to do something like that for the registration page and the forgot password page. So if we go to register page, we're gonna go scroll down a little. We say InfyOM, we'll call it Laravel, and then we'll call it jobs. Okay, this is beautiful, and we can do the same thing. Let's just refresh here just to be sure that what we did worked. Boom, Laravel jobs. Finally, we're gonna do it for the forgot password page. So I have to click here and come to I forgot my password, and in this page we're going to do the same modification. Under passwords folder, we're going to see email. We look for InfyOM, call it Laravel jobs. Laravel jobs, beautiful. We'll refresh. You see it has changed. Let's just do it one more for this guy. The InfyOM, we'll call it Laravel jobs. So this is what the full HTML part of Laravel looks like. Before I proceed to another type of Laravel, let me show you how to install. In case your HTML is not appearing properly mixed with this, we need to install an extension in our editor, which is inside VS Code, that will show us exactly, that will help us to color these things properly or highlight this syntax. They call it syntax highlighting. So if we come here on our code editor, so we'll click on extensions. So these are enabled extensions, then these are recommended extensions. So Laravel 5 snippets seem to be enabled, and 4 simple snippets, and Laravel blade snippets. So we have to remove at least one of these. One of them is not coloring this thing well. I already have this, so if you don't already have this, just search for it. Type here Laravel snippets or Laravel whatever. So we don't need Laravel docs, so we're going to remove it. Disable, uninstall. It's gone. Laravel blade. So I'm going to, as much as possible, disable many of these. Laravel blade, disable. So I'm looking for the one that is messing up my Laravel blade snippets. Okay, good. So what you should download is Laravel blade snippets. So let's see. Reloading. So I already have it. That's why that list is there. So the one you should download is Laravel blade snippets or snippets, depending on how you want to pronounce it. It's going to color your blade templating engine properly. Now, if you download multiple like I did before, you're going to run into the issue of so many different syntax highlighting engines trying to work at the same time, and the coloring will be messed up. But with just one like this, the coloring will be awesome, as we just have here. So this is incredibly okay. So basically, if you want to download it, you do Laravel blade. So you'll see the Laravel blade, and then you click install. So that's how to do that. Okay, so in my own case, you just have to download Laravel blade. Okay, that's in case you're having this kind of issue. But if you're not having the issue, that's okay. That means you've been coding Laravel in the past. So now the next thing we're gonna do is to look at how get back to folder. I'll click here. So we're back to this. I'll minimize this. So let's look at this other folder. This folder is called the console. It's called the app folder. This is where your PHP files are resident. The first PHP file you need to look at is the first one that comes with Laravel. It's called user.php. This is a model file. This model file handles relationships between your application and the database table that you need to connect to. We're going to get to database tables, but I just want to explain here. So what happens is that this is the user model, user.php. It comes default with all Laravel installations. Once you create a login system or authentication system, it will come with it. So it tells us that first of all, here we can specify the fields that can be created in a form. All right, so the 3 fields are name, email, and password. If we have other fields, we'll gradually add them here. Then it specifies the name of the table that you're working with in the database. So these are hidden fields, password and the remember token. These fields cannot be allowed to display on the form. Once somebody's entering their password, they're going to see a hidden stuff. So there is a verified at field. So it's just mentioning the connection. Now, if your database is called users, for instance, the database table name is users, then Laravel will automatically know the table you're talking about. You don't need to specify it here. But if you have a table called if you have a file called user or class called user like this, and your table name is something else, let's say employees. if the table name is employees on the database and on your file here it is called user, then you have to specify, you type table, public table, then you specify it here. So we're going to get to that later, but I just want to show you that this specify the relationship. So if your user table is related to account table in a many-to-many relationship, this is where you're going to tell Laravel that relationship. We'll get to that further down the tutorial. Okay, all the inter-relationships between your tables, these model files handle it. So going forward, we might create a special folder, which I love to do, so that we can dump all our Laravel model files inside it. Okay, but by default Laravel will just dump them directly in the root folder of app, which I don't personally like. Then the next most important folder to look into is the HTTP. This folder is awesome in the sense that it has controllers folder, which is what we're looking for. Controller is where you write all your business logic. Okay, so business logic, like when the user logs in, what do you do after the user logs in? You take their email, go check in the database whether it's correct, take their password, hash it, go check in the database, come back, all those things. If somebody makes a payment, what do? You go to the database to check whether they paid the correct amount they should pay, and if they paid, you update your table. It's all inside. This is where you create the files you're supposed to need. As you can see, Laravel has created 1, 2, 3, 4 files for us. And not just that, since it has already built a login system, it put all the folders for all the files for that login system here. So let me drag this. So if I drag this, look at where we are. We are inside, let me just zoom back so in case you're confused. We're inside app folder, that is inside HTTP, and then we're inside controllers. Then there's a folder called auth. This folder has the business logic for managing forgot password, business logic for managing login, business logic for managing registration. Interesting. See, beautiful. You see it's hashing. This is where it's hashing the password. When you want to create a new account, it takes your email password and it hashes it and saves it in the database. Beautiful. And then reset password, business logic, password verification, account verification from email. See, awesome. All right, so these things come by default, and InfyOM created them for us. Okay, or at least Laravel created it, InfyOM modified it and designed it for us. All right, so now we understand the basic folders we'll be working with. I will reveal more folders as we go forward, but people used to ask, where do I start designing my Laravel app? Like, now we have installed everything, which folder should you start with? The folder I personally normally start with is the folder where I specify the database details, how many tables we want, how many fields we need in that table, and how each table is related to another table. And that file is called the migration. So if you go to database folder, you see migrations. You click on migrations. You see that 3 have already been created for you. Remember that we already have a full authentication system. So as you can see, users migration file has already been created, password resets, okay, and failed jobs file. So if I click on users migration, you see that it specifies that the table name must be users. You see, in the database, we're going to get to tables in the next video, and then you can see that the table we have how many fields? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, around 8 fields. One of the fields will be ID, another one will be name, email, and so on. So this is the file. You specify all these things. Then when you run a command in your command line, it's going to go to your database in phpMyAdmin and create all this, create a table that has this. So in the next video, we're going to go to our database and continue. Thank you very much. See you in the next video.